Okay, hey. So this is the second part of the QHHT session that I went through with a practitioner. It's called the Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, and it's been developed by Dolores Cannon. If you haven't watched the first one, you might want to go watch the first one for my experience. It has a sort of a more overarching type of experience, and then what my higher self decided to do in the second part is, because I had asked to know about everything to try to really understand how I fit into the large picture, how to understand how the universe works. And so now my team decided to bring me back to Earth and show me all the different forms that you can take on Earth, so that I would fully understand how it felt to be in those different types of forms. So after I was out, in the galaxies checking things out, I returned to Earth, and I found myself stuck. And it wasn't an uncomfortable feeling. It was a very peaceful feeling. And it took a while before I realized I was a particle underwater. Imagine, like, you see those videos, nature channels, where there are, they're under the Antarctica or something, deep under, some ice, and there's these different water creatures that are swimming around, but it's very, very peaceful. So that's how I felt. I was a particle. I was kind of able to look down under the water, see that kind of color that the cold water has, see certain animals that was swimming by. And I was there for a very long time. My experience, even though it was now in this session a short time, I knew in my whole being that I was a particle of frozen ice for a very, very long time. And I experienced that, and it was beautiful. It was the most beautiful thing, just to be there, just to hear that little cracking noise of the ice, watch the color of the water movement, watch these different animals swim by, and just to be there, just to be part of that. It felt amazing. It was an incredible feeling just to be. Yeah. So that I got to experience. And then as we're moving along in the session, the practitioner brought me to kind of the next step, and then I turned into water. So I got to feel what it was like to be part of the rolling waves, to be part of that movement, to be part of that strength, to kind of move into, and finally we got close to a ship. And it was one of those old ships, like imagine like, when Marco Polo was sailing around, like that type of ship. And then after I had felt what it was like to be water, full of energy, full of, just movement and kind of touching the wind sometimes when the waves were rolling through, I then became the wind. So now it's clear to me I get to experience all these different elements, right? I became the wind, and I flew up, and I was looking at the ship, and I said, I'm trying to help the ship, but I can't really, because it doesn't have any sails, so I can't push it along, right? I could sense that the ship needed help, but I couldn't really help it. But I also got to feel like, from that being frozen to being in movement in water to being in movement in as an air particle, was incredibly freeing, because now as an air particle I was kind of giggling, and I was like, let's go try this out. So I went over this mountain, and I kind of swept around the mountain. I tried all these different things. I went past a child and just kind of touched it a little bit, so it started laughing because something flew away, and I was trying all these different things, being an air particle, and it was an incredibly freeing feeling, just full of movement and lightness and air moving all around, clouds, all this stuff, right? And now it was time to go into Earth. So I got then down to, just flew by a tree and decided to go into the tree, went all the way down into the tree, and came out, by the roots, by the fungi, the mycelium network. And I saw, it was so incredible. I saw the energy pumping, you know, it kind of that light, it was light energy pumping from the roots, from the fungi network. And I just saw it spreading throughout the whole forest. And it was this incredible communication network of information, of nutrition, of love, of compassion for each other, and how the trees were talking to each other. So I was part of that for quite some time, which was really, really incredible as well. And then it was time to try to be an animal. So I went up and I kind of jumped on this bird's back, and the bird allowed me to fly along with it. So I wasn't actually part of the animal this time, right? I was more as an observer. But I got to feel like what it was like to fly around, what it's like to land on a tree, how to interact with both, you know, the tree, the materia, but also the air, and how the freeing and the point of view that you get when you're up and flying like a bird does. Yeah. Okay, so that was my experience on Earth, and it was an incredible experience because I really got to feel the elements. I guess the element that I missed was air. Fire, but all of the elements I got to experience, and I got to experience the feeling of being that element, the absolute feeling. And that was so super powerful and profound, because I believe we have all those elements inside of us, and understanding what they feel like and remember what they feel like air feels playful, water feels like moving, ice feels, you know, still and observing, and so on, right? And earth is pulsating with energy for sure. Okay, I hope this was helpful. I would highly recommend going and trying out one of these sessions, because it's just fantastic. And the things that you can see, like I mentioned at the beginning, I was taken on this journey, but a lot of times people are taken on journeys like, you know, they see past lives, they see all these different things, and then they get to heal those things, right? And so the healing part for me was when she brought in my higher team in the end and started asking them questions. You know, she talked about my injury from my sport injury was in another lifetime I soared, and my migraine was a reminder for me to slow down, that I can't be active all the time, that I need to kind of just take pauses, and if I do take pauses, then the migraine won't be a problem. We also talked about, she asked why I wasn't going back into other lifetimes, and my team was saying, well, the karma that was there is not necessary anymore. It's time for Marie to kind of move forward, and we'll clear all those other things and clear her injuries so that she can fully step into who she needs to be, and she knows where to go and all this stuff. And then at the end, the higher self was saying that I'm surprised Marie didn't ask who she is. You know, she wanted to know all this stuff, but she didn't ask who she is. And then the answer was, the team answered itself and said, well, Marie is part of this group that has a really high potential for healing. It's kind of like a healing group. And if you step into that, then you can really be part of that kind of healing of the earth and healing of the universe type of energy. And I thought that was quite beautiful. And none of this I feel like is, you know, feeding my ego in any way. It just feels so confirming that that the feelings I've had are kind of, you know, supported in this way. So that's, I think, all I wanted to say about that. Really go and try it, you guys. I highly recommend it. Much love. Namaste.